thank you both for doing this. To say I'm a longtime fan would be an understatement, because the Cranberries catalog, not only like did it impact rock, but pop radio, like Z100 here in New York, you guys were played all the time for years and years and years. So you're one of those bands that people who don't even love rock, they know the Cranberries catalog. So it's great to see that you've got this new reissue coming. How long has it been in the works for?
Well, the first one was so successful that they got back onto us, because they initially Universal weren't sure about releasing a box set for this, for No Need to Argue.
Right.
But the first one was really successful, and they were kind of saying, it would be great to do a box set for this as well. So we kind of had a look through bits and pieces we had ourselves, and then they had a look in their archives and managed to dig up a lot more than we thought was there, because we weren't sure. With the first album, there was loads of demos and stuff that we had, and that, because it was our first album, and there was loads of stuff that we had done before that.
Yeah.
That wasn't released. So we weren't sure how much stuff, was available for this, would it be worth doing. But then we managed to find lots of bits and pieces that hadn't been out there before.
Yeah, it's a great collection where there's the Magic Shop demos, different live events that you had recorded, MTV Unplugged. Is this everything? Is this almost everything? Can you tell me that part?
It's pretty much everything we felt was worth, putting on there. There's always going to be tons of live stuff, but you'll have, similar versions of this song, but at a different venue and things like that. But yeah, I think we kind of thought when doing these that we'd put on literally everything we could find, and not, in another 10 years, here's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
So it is generally everything that, without repeating yourself on stuff, it's everything we could find.
I find with bands like yourselves that were playing top arenas and top festivals for decades, there's two answers to this. One, the band recorded every single show, audio, soundboard, and a couple of them with the cameras, just in case for insurance reasons. Or two, we didn't really record much. It's up to the venues if they have them. Which one is it for you guys?
It was kind of two for us, I think. Yeah, we didn't record that much. We were surprised, actually. There was those ones that we used in this, the Milton Keynes and the one in Liverpool, Royal Court, that they were there and the quality was so good. There was a few bits and pieces we recorded here and there, but nothing major, so we were surprised that they were in such good quality. So thank God, really.
Yeah, it all sounds great. Sometimes when you talk about reissues from the 70s and 80s, obviously it wasn't just recorded to tape, but maybe the tapes rotted a little bit. None of that with you guys, fortunately. It's perfect, ideal quality stuff. I'm assuming all of it was that good and not a lot of tapes had to be baked or anything like that?
No, it was all good. We just got it remastered.
No, I think Universal have they've been kind of digitizing everything for the last whatever amount of years. So luckily they were kind of a bit ahead of us really on it. They had everything. So there was nothing that we lost. There wasn't something that we all remembered and went, where's that gone? And it wasn't there. Everything was there.
Right. And this release isn't the typical 25 or 30 year release. I think it's let's see, is it 22? Is that the number? 26?
No, it's actually, 26, I think. It was supposed to be out earlier this year. So that would have kind of made it 25
What
years.
I'm curious about with that kind of thing is if somebody at Universal keeps a calendar, like, how you see a calendar where they go, so-and-so's 75th birthday is this day, and so-and-so the 50th anniversary of Kiss performing in makeup is this day. Was there someone keeping a calendar like that at the label? Any idea?
I don't know. I think the first one, we did the 25th anniversary of the first album, which is something I think that we remembered
yeah.
and had contacted Universal. And it was during that conversation then, because that took again about 2 years to get together, that we realized that, hold on a minute, the second album actually came out quite soon afterwards. So whether they would have remembered it or not, I'm not sure, but we did remind them, and they were suggesting it as we went along as well. And I think with the success of the first one, it kind of really made them want to do this more, because as Fergal said a while ago, I don't think initially this album had there was anything planned, maybe a remaster of it, but that was kind of it maybe. But it made it a bigger project than it began.
And one of my favorite moments for the Cranberries was the Woodstock 94 performance. And the recording of Dreams was on the Woodstock 94 double CD, which sold a bajillion copies. Do you know if your full set is totally preserved and all that, so that one day it might come out?
It is, I think, yeah. I remember I've seen a video of it, maybe on YouTube actually. There's some of that performance on YouTube, so I'm sure that's there. Yeah.
So in general, with your other albums, could we see deluxe editions? I'm not looking for an exclusive. It's just having done 2 of these now, is there hope to just keep pumping them out as long as there's good stuff found?
It would be great, and we haven't discussed it yet, to be honest.
Got it.
As Fergal said, yeah, it'd be great to do it, but I think they kind of deal with a project by project, and I would imagine the next album, there's a bit of time yet before it is 25 years. I'm not sure what the exact date is, but I think hopefully someone at Universal has that calendar, and can keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I remember you guys were part of the 96 or 97 MTV Video Music Awards doing Salvation. So at that point in time, you were doing every TV show in every country. So I'd have to imagine that there's great obscure stuff that you guys haven't even seen in 25 years.
Probably, yeah, I'm sure. I'd love to get into the archives in Universal and go through some of the stuff, because I'd say the stuff there you completely forget about.
Yeah, so some of the artists I talk about who are on your guys' level in terms of commercial and critical acclaim, some of them just hate looking back at the past because they're just very forward thinking, and other people go, no, it was good then, so it's still good now. Are you guys along the lines of looking forward, but you don't mind these kinds of looking backs?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's always great to kind of, especially when you're doing new albums, that you're trying to do something new and you're pushing yourself. But I mean, we had a ball doing all of this. I mean, we were in our 20s and just enjoying it and realizing how lucky we were. So it's kind of nice, especially when you find stuff you'd forgotten about, and to kind of see that again. So it's never really bothered us. It's just I guess we're grateful that people still want to kind of see and hear the stuff we did and do and things like that. So, I mean, as long as the fans kind of are happy that we're doing it, we kind of keep tipping away with it then.
True, that it does come down to the fans at a certain point. If the fans don't want it, there's no reason to do it. But clearly the fans do want it. And I don't think everybody realizes that you were still an arena band until the end of the band, that the massive tours you're doing of South America, which is often a forgotten about rock territory, great rock territory, still doing the big shows down there. So all that said, is there any band that you look at the legacy of how they manage it and that you go, that's what we need to be doing, that's the right way to do it?
I don't, like, I haven't. I mean, I think the one thing about the Cranberries is we've always just kind of done our thing from the very beginning, and we've kind of surrounded ourselves with people, like luckily at the record company, they always kind of said, we were lucky. We had success with the first album, and we were more or less did that on our own. They left us off in Dublin to kind of do it, and from that moment on, we just kind of did what we felt was the right thing to do. And not everybody at the time got what we were doing, or maybe agreed with what we're doing, you know, especially when you decided we're going to take, you know, a couple of years off here, and everyone go, why would you do that? And, you know, but just things like that. So, I mean, I'd say that's the way we will just kind of do things, you know, always. It's just that for us, it's like, yeah, well, we do it, and yeah, it feels right, and we do it, you know, and it's just great, as we said, that, you know, there's still interest there. Like the last album came out, I guess, a couple of years ago, and there's still, you know, you hear the songs constantly on the radio, and, you know, people doing cover versions of them, and you know, there's constantly people, you know, kind of still kind of like what we did, and that's great to see. For us, it feels fantastic that something you did like almost 30 years ago, for some of it, that it's still relevant to people, you know, today, because a lot of music these days is very disposable. And, you know, like songs that were massive 2 years ago, you know, a lot of the time you don't even remember now who it was or what that song was. You know, people move on quickly. So it's lovely that, you know, that we are still appreciated, I guess.
That's a great point that you just mentioned about people covering the songs. When I heard that Bad Wolves was doing Zombie, at first you didn't know if it was like Alien Ant Farm or some of those new metal bands covering songs like Limp Bizkit doing George Michael, where you're going, I think they're making fun of it. And then you hear the Zombie one, you go, no, not only are they not making fun of it, but this is actually bringing the song to a new audience that now gets the Cranberries. When you heard it, did you immediately like it? And that one goes to both of you.
It wasn't what I was expecting. It just came at a bad time, to be honest, because it was just after Dolores had passed away, so I kind of wasn't sure how to feel about it, and I kind of just didn't really think about it too much. But there was something I watched yesterday, believe it or not, was that Miley Cyrus doing a cover of Zombie. There was some
I didn't know that.
yeah, I was surprised because I hadn't heard about it. It was a Whiskey A Go-Go thing she was doing. I think it's just this weekend, but she did a great job. You know, really, really good job. Now I was surprised. It was brilliant.
And yourself, Noel?
Yeah, I would agree with Ferg there. Like the Bad Wolves one, I think came at a weird time for us. It was like literally weeks after Dolores passed away, so I don't think I actually even heard it properly or fully for months later. Yeah, like that, like Zombie and Dreams as well gets covered a lot. I've heard a lot of interesting versions of that, you know, and it's cool that it gets done. I mean, look, a lot of them may not be our cup of tea, but that's not to say that somebody won't, you know, somebody's into it, like, and but yeah, like for there, I woke up yesterday morning and saw the Miley Cyrus one. It was like my phone was hopping because my daughter and her friends would be big Miley Cyrus fans, so to them this is a big deal, you know. And but it's cool that stuff like that happens still. And I guess a lot of those people were probably really, really young kids, like, you know, when we were doing that. So it just goes to show how strong the music is, that it's still, you know, that generation down the line, it's still getting it. And that's kind of cool.
Well, if you don't want to answer this question, just cut me off. But this is intended to be a compliment. One of my favorite bands is Alice in Chains, and they also lost their iconic frontman who co-wrote music and all that. And when Alice in Chains, you know, went away, people said, never going to hear from them again. And then they did an interesting thing a few years later where they did this one-off appearance and they brought out guest vocalists. And it wasn't that they were trying to replace, it was just they were keeping the music alive through tributes. And ultimately they became a band again and they did new albums and all that. But it never became we're replacing, it's just we're honoring. Is that something that the Cranberries have ever thought about doing?
No, I guess like for us, the last couple of years, like Dolores passed away and we went in and we did the last album, with the demos of Dolores' demos of her vocals, and everyone knows that story. And and that took up a whole bunch of time and brought us really all the way up. And I guess during that kind of promo tour, you know, a documentary that we had kind of started in a way years ago, it was initially meant to be a documentary about the first album, about the band beginning up until the first album. And we had kind of little bits and pieces done with that. And then Dolores passed away, and we began to talk about doing the documentary more as a full document of the band from start to finish. And, you know, we started focusing on that and doing the promo. And that's kind of where the conversation ended, really, up to that point then, because we were surprisingly even more busy than we had been in years doing all of that. So then COVID came and everything stopped. And, you know, I guess since then, like, all of this year has just been kind of us at home like everybody else. And I think the last time we were all together was probably at the Grammys back in February. And we get home, and then a couple of weeks later, we're all in lockup. So, I mean, that's it. And that's all we've kind of discussed or thought about it now. And I mean, no one knows if anyone will ever get to do a gig again at this point, the way things are going. So no, it's not really kind of been on the cards for us. We've been talking all right about this documentary that we really want to get that going, because, you know, it's going to take a few years to get it together anyway. And we've been in discussions with different production companies. And I guess, you know, that will be the next big project that we look at going forward. Because, again, it'll be looking back on a lot of things, and I guess digging through a lot of kind of people that we worked with over the years, and hearing and seeing what they made of it all at the time. And I guess with stuff like on Netflix and all that these days, the documentary thing is a massive thing now.
Right.
So it would be really cool to do that, but do it well is the way. That's what we tried to focus on, because I think we've always tried to kind of do stuff of a certain quality, and you know, you want to keep it that way as well.
That's a great answer, because it again comes down to the fans, and you guys are a fan-friendly kind of band, and you're keeping up that legacy. So 2 quick questions for both of you, and then you're free, if that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, first one, totally different wavelength, but speaking of Netflix, what's the best TV recommendation that both of you can pass along for somebody who's looking for a new show?
I just finished The Terror. Have you seen that?
My wife liked that. Yeah.
Really good. I know it's a couple of years old, but I just finished the first season. It's fantastic. And I'm into the second one, which is completely different. It's like a different show, but it's still very good.
And I just finished season 2 of The Boys on Amazon. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's what I've been watching the last few weeks as it's come out.
And then my closer for both of you, any last words for the kids?
Stay home. That's what they keep telling us. That's what they're telling us at the moment. It used to be like, keep safe and all that. Now it's stay home. So, I mean, kids as in like fans of the band, like, you know, look, we still appreciate that. I mean, we still get loads of messages on, you know, the kind of social media stuff about what the band meant to people, and they have no idea really, I guess, how much we appreciate that still. It's lovely to see.
Anything to add, Fergal?
Yeah, it's just, it is amazing to see that even young people coming up who weren't born when we started off have discovered the band somehow. I don't know how, but you know, it's amazing to see a new generation of fans like loving the songs as much as when they were first, or, you know, those songs first were released. You know, it's incredible really to see that.
Totally agreed. I'm one of them. So keep up the greatness that you're doing, and hope selfishly this all ends soon so we can see you live in New York in some form, even if solo projects in the very near future.
Thanks, Darren.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the day.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Paltrocast.